For this week's Devar Torah, be for Schus, for continued for Shlema, for Aaron ben Devora, B'sach Sha'ar Chol Yisrael. A lot of things happening in this week's parasha. One of the most famous stories in the history of Klal Yisrael, the Chet Haegel. And after the Chet Haegel, Moshe Rabbeinu says, Harini Noaz Kevodecha, after he attains appeasement for the Jewish people, and Hashem teaches him the Yud Gimel Middos of Rachamim. And the Chazal tell us that Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu that whenever you say this tefillah, Eino Chozeres Reikam. It's one of the most important prayer services that we have. So I have a sefer Shari Rachamim, all about the Yud Gimel Middos of Rachamim. I wanted to share with you a few ideas from the sefer about the value of the Yud Gimel Middos of Rachamim. So there's a few different points in the Yud Gimel Middos of Rachamim. One is just that the power of saying the Yud Gimel Middos of Rachamim is something that is never turned back empty-handed. Rav Cutler pointed out that the Yud Gimel Middos of Rachamim, the Hashem Hashem Kerachum V'chanon, they're really just Shevach and Hodah, Baruch Hu, praising Hashem, thanking Hashem. They don't have this element of asking Hashem for things. And at the same time, they help tremendously for us in achieving atonement for us and in being a schus for us. He says this is the main tefillah we find in the Torah, and it's Shevach and Hodah. And we see that alone has a tremendous power of tefillah. It's not just a setup for asking Hashem for things, but in fact that is one of the main things that prayer is about, is Shevach and Hodah. Rabag explains that tefillah to a large degree is about changing. It's not about changing Hashem. It's about changing us. So praising Hashem, thanking Hashem can be a transformative experience for us. We can be zocheh to bring tremendous bracha and Yeshua into our lives. Another element of the value of the Yud Gimel Middos is what Yirmiyahu Hanavi tells us: Al Yishal Chacham B'Chachmaso, Kim B'Zos Yishal Mishal Haskev Yadosi. A person should be praising him, and a person could feel praise about himself for the element of Haskel V'Yodua Osi, knowing HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we come to know Hashem through understanding His Middos, which means the way that we pick up on how Hashem interacts with the world is how we come to know HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's one of the main purposes in life, is to know and understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And also one of the big things in life is V'halachta b'drachav, the idea of emulating the ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And through learning about Hashem's Middos, we learn about the Middos that we're striving to develop in ourselves to walk in the ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So all three of these elements are at play in the value of learning about the Yud Gimel Middos of Rachamim. All right, so I just wanted to zone in on one or two of the Yud Gimel Middos of Rachamim. So it starts off the Pa Hashem Hashem Ke'el Rachum V'chanon. So Hashem Hashem. So it's a machlokes in the Rishonim and the Achronim exactly what the 13 Middos are, but many of the Shittas are that Hashem Hashem are two separate Middos. There's a pshat that it means Hashem before tshuva, Hashem's Middos Harachamim before tshuva, and Hashem's Middos Harachamim after tshuva. But the most famous pshat is Hashem before Hashem's mercy before the sin, and Hashem's mercy after the sin. That's the idea of Hashem Hashem. So on this pshat, that Hashem Hashem means Hashem is merciful before the sin, and Hashem is merciful after the sin, the Rosh in Rosh Hashanah asks the question, why would you need Middos Harachamim before the sin? You haven't sinned yet. The Rosh gives two approaches. One is that it's revealed before Hashem a person is going to sin. So really Hashem could preemptively punish the person, I think is what he means. But Hashem is noeg with Rachamim. As the Avodram elaborates, that Ki Shama Elokim Al Kohanar B'Asher Hu Sham, that Hashem listens to a person where he is, and therefore there's a mercy before the sin. His second pshat is that that's talking specifically even about Avodah Zarah, that thinking to do Avodah Zarah, Hashem is mitzaref that l'maisa. It's already considered an aveiro when a person thinks to do Avodah Zarah. But even so, Hashem is knowing with the person with Rachamim. When he sins, then Hashem is mitzvah the machshav with the ma'isa. Before the person sins, there's this element though of Rachamim. This would be one approach to two approaches to understanding it. The Beis Elokim Mabit gives another angle on this, that I'm Hashem before and after the sin, that a person does tshuva, Hashem makes it like he hadn't sinned. Hashem has that same, more than Hashem has that same ritzoy, that same favor towards him. Because you could have tshuva and Hashem would say that I'm going to erase the sin, but you're not in the inner circle anymore. You're not in the club of favorites like you were before. You're not in favor in my eyes like you were before. But instead we say Hashem is the same rachamim Hashem has before the chet. That's the same rachamim he's going to have after the chet. The way they're understanding it, that this is the midah of making the rachamim afterwards like the rachamim before, that it's not just removing the punishment, it's actually going back to the level of favor that there was before the sin. The Vilna Gaon in Mishle Yud Aleph Hey writes, there's a pasuk in the Torah, Kol machal asher samti b'Mitzrayim lo asem alecha, ki ani Hashem afecha. The sickness that I put upon Mitzrayim I will not place upon you, because I am Hashem your healer. The Gemara writes that the idea of the pasuk, if you listen to the voice of Hashem and listen to His mitzvahs, then the afflictions that were placed on Mitzrayim, the machla that was sounded in Mitzrayim, will be not placed upon you. But if you don't listen to my voice, then it will be asem lecha. The machla will be put upon you. Then afterwards Hashem will heal you. Why? Ki ani Hashem rofecha, because I am the Hashem who heals you. The idea of Ki ani Hashem is like the Hashem Hashem in the Yud Gimel Middos. Ani who before the person sins, and Ani who after the person sins. That there's two elements. I'm Hashem with Rachamim before and after the sin. The pasuk in Malachi tells us, Ken Hashem Moshanisi, V'atem b'nei Yaakov Chilisem. And that's the pshat. Hashem says, I don't change before the sin and after the sin. I have the same Middos Rachamim. Ani Hashem Moshanisi, I don't change. And therefore, Atem b'nei Yaakov Chilisem, therefore you, Yaakov, I don't destroy. Even if you sin and you abandon me, I don't destroy. Keni Hashem rofecha. Even though you've sinned, I bring you to tshuva, and then immediately, because Ani Hashem lo shanisi. Similar word to the Ma'abed, I think the idea of then Hashem before the chet is the Hashem, the Middos of Rachamim before the chet is the Middos of Rachamim after the chet. That relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu can go back to what it was even before the sin, to that same level of mercy and closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we had before the chet. Like we said, we have to understand Hashem, appreciate the greatness and love of Hashem. It's part of what we're doing here. We're not just evoking. The main thing is just evoking Hashem's mercy through saying the Yud Gimel Middos, but there's this idea of understanding the great love Hashem has for us from analyzing such Middos, and trying, I guess, in our own way to try to emulate that. To maybe be able to even reach such an idea someday of a person wrongs us, and not only a good friend stabs us in the back, wrongs us, to maybe not even just to be able to accept forgiveness, but even to be able to someday reach a level to be able to go back to having a close relationship with such a person again, and thereby walk in the ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Just a little analysis of some parts of the Yud Gimel Middos of Rachamim. Maybe be zocheh to learn and grow from them. Have a wonderful Shabbos.